Hello everyone, welcome back to Sonic Poison TV. In this video I'll be showing you the 10 most valuable cassettes that I've got in my collection based off of the sales information available to me in Discogs. I'll be using the highest sale for each of these, so essentially the most that a copy of these have ever sold for, and I'll be limiting the list to just a single release from each band, just to keep everything a bit more interesting and a bit more diverse. I'll also not be including any box sets or anything like that. The prices will also all be in Australian dollars, and that will be as at the end of April when I gathered all this information for this video. So with that out of the way, let's just jump straight into it. First up, we have Monstrosity with Imperial Doom. This is the Nuclear Blast Euro version of the cassette, and the most a copy of this that's ever sold for on Discogs is $84.26. The median price is actually about $40 or a bit over $40, which is probably a more accurate representation of what this is really worth. Yeah, there's number 10, Imperial Doom by Monstrosity. So next up, in number 9, we've got the black metal classic Death Crush by Mayhem. Now, if you're familiar with this album, you'll probably know that the original pressing of the vinyl goes for thousands of dollars, particularly if it's complete with all of the inserts and all of that stuff. This isn't that. This is the 1995 Morbid Noise Productions version. This is from Poland, and you know, while it doesn't come quite close to what the vinyl is worth, or the original pressing of the vinyl is worth, this has sold for as much as $87.86. Not bad, not bad. Alright, next up in number 8, we have the Aussie garage rock band, Royal Headache, with their 2009 self-titled demo. Some of you mightn't be too familiar with these guys, but if you like really catchy, punky garage rock, then yeah, I think definitely worth checking these guys out. They've released, I think, 2 LPs, but have now broken up, which is a bit disappointing. But yeah, if you're into that sort of thing, definitely worth checking these guys out. Anyway, this is a pretty hard cassette to come across, and the most a copy of this that's ever sold for on Discogs is $100. Okay, next up in number 7, we've got Incantation with the Mortal Throne of Nazarene. So this is the 1995 Relapse Records version of the cassette, and this thing sounds incredible. And yeah, this is an absolute belter of an album if you've not listened to this one before. And the most a copy of this that's ever sold for on Discogs is $117. But you should be able to pick up a copy for a lot cheaper if you're patient. The copy that sold for $117 appears to have been sealed, which explains the high price. And I think that just goes to show that whether you're a buyer or a seller, it's worth doing a little bit of research to see what you're trying to sell or buy, what it's actually worth. Because sometimes I think the information on Discogs can be a little bit unreliable, and yeah, it just pays to do a little bit of research, I think. Alright, we're at the halfway mark now, and coming in at number 6 is Symphonies of Sickness by Carcass. So this is the second Carcass record, and yeah, they kind of continue on with that grindcore sound they had developed on the first record. It's probably a bit more defined now, a bit more developed. The track list is shorter, the songs are longer, and yeah, this thing is an absolute cracker of a record. And yeah, it's considered a classic of the genre. And this version, which is the original earache pressing of the album, this is sold for as much as $123.72. My copy's seen better days. It's quite beat up, but yeah, I think I'd be pretty lucky to get over $100 for my copy, and I think these usually average for around $50 anyway. So yeah, there you have it. Carcass, Symphonies of Sickness. Alrighty, we're now into the top 5, and in number 5 we've got Deteriorate, Rotting in Hell. While not obscure by any means, this is a somewhat lesser known death metal record, but yeah, this is not to be slept on. This is an absolutely fantastic album, and yeah, it came out on JL America in the early 90s, who released a number of fantastic death metal albums, so yeah, label worth checking out because you'll find a lot of hidden gems on there. But yeah, this is the original JL America pressing of the cassette, and the most a copy has ever sold for on Discogs is $124.78. I was lucky enough to pick this one up for about $50 last year, so I really lucked out, and this thing is mint, almost near mint. Fantastic condition, so I really lucked out in being able to pick this one up so cheaply. Okay, number 4. City Hunter, Ninth Protocol. This is a 6-track hardcore punk EP that came out in 2016. These guys are a pretty mysterious band, and look, there's not a lot I can actually tell you about them. They've got quite a unique style of hardcore that I guess you can say is themed around being the villain of a 90s slasher horror movie. And it kind of shows, because this comes in a sort of VHS style cover that suits the aesthetic of the band pretty well. This was released on Black Outrage Records in 2 different versions, a black cassette and a red cassette version. Mine's the black. These are hand numbered out of 50 as well, and the most a copy of the black cassette has ever sold for is $156. Alright, we're into the top 3 now, and number 3 is a cracker. Matrix, live from Sonoko. Matrix is a fantastic band with a style of hardcore punk that would not have been out of place in the 80s. This tape, as well as the band's first demo tape, were available only from the band directly, as far as I'm aware. So they're quite hard to come by, and they've sold for as much as $156 in the past. Okay, number 2, we've got Big Attraction by Aussie punk band Amel and the Sniffers. This is the band's second EP, and this came out in 2017, and this is the US pressing put out by Burger Records, and is pretty hard to find. I'm not sure how many were pressed, but I can't imagine it was too many. And yeah, this is sold for $180 in the past. The original version of the tape was self-released by the band earlier in 2017 and is limited to only 20 copies, so I can only imagine what that would sell for if this version of the tape can go for as much as $180. Alright, so we are down to the number 1 spot, and we've got the self-titled promo tape, Gulch. This promo tape contains 2 songs that would later appear on the band's 2020 album, Impenetrable Cerebral Fortress. This was released by Creator Destructor Records in 2019, and the most a copy has ever sold for is $233.98. Not sure if that was a sealed copy or not, but that's more than double the median price for the tape, so I think if you're in the market for this, you should be able to find a copy for a lot less than that. But regardless, yeah, this isn't a cheap one to come across, unfortunately. But yeah, there you've got it. They were my top 10 most expensive tapes in my collection. Let me know if you want to see any more of my collection that you can see here behind me. Got a bit, maybe I'll show it off in another video. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Cheers.